Hello, and welcome back to the Guilty Parent Club series. I'm Dr. Jo Mueller, clinical psychologist, and in this episode, we're diving back into the child P keys part of the 6P key framework and understanding how and why each of those P keys work to help you parent your child. So, in the last episode, we heard about the introduction key, the child welcome key, and how this sets the scene for the child P keys by outlining what boundaries actually are and what the scientific evidence says is the healthiest style of parenting. And of course, this is in a broad sense, not in terms of minute-to-minute decisions, because we also heard that the 6P key framework is all about embracing imperfection, being yourself, reducing pressure as a parent. It's not a rigid list of rules. These keys are simply here to help boost what you're already doing. It's a toolkit that's flexible that you can use to help you feel more confident. And on this theme, we covered the first P key, the child imperfection key, and heard how understanding our child's brain development is such a crucial piece of the puzzle because it enables us to have appropriate and realistic expectations of their behaviour and their emotions. And this can in turn contribute to a positive cycle of fewer frustrations and better connection with our child. Then we explored how accepting our own imperfections too is just as crucial and really important in modelling humanness to our kids. So let's move on to the rest of the child P keys, which are perspective, predictability, playfulness, power, and physical support. The next key is the child perspective key. So let me explain a little bit what this is about. This key is about truly understanding and empathizing with our children. Think of this key as the foundation upon which we can build a more connected relationship with our children, a way to help us all feel more on the same team. Because when our children feel understood, they feel safe. And when they feel safe, their brains can stay out of threat mode. And this also paves the way for their emotional regulation development in the longer term. This key is all about getting curious and translating what our child's behaviour might be communicating, rather than jumping to conclusions or being triggered into our own threat mode. We cover practical handy phrases such as connection before correction and this is a good kid having a hard time that can help us pause before reacting. We use more detailed strategies such as the CTO chart, which stands for context, trigger, and outcome, which can help us notice patterns and triggers in your child's behaviours. Because properly understanding what's going on for our child means that we can choose the most helpful responses in the moment and we can meet their needs more effectively to prevent future challenges. And we also look at strategies like name it to tame it, where we learn how to label emotions, validate their feelings and help them to navigate through big waves of emotion. Throughout the child perspective key, we work on developing a dialogue with our children. It's one that respects their emotions whilst enabling us to remain firm with any necessary boundaries. So this key is aiming to reduce the temperature in your home, slow everything down, and get you and your child on the same side. These techniques grow with you and your child, so they're useful for younger and older children alike, and many of the tips even work with our partners. But of course, it's only one piece of the puzzle. So if you're ready, let's hear about the next child P key in our brain-based boundary setting framework. The next P key is the child predictability key. I like to think of predictability as like the loyal friend you never knew you needed in your parenting toolkit. This key is all about creating a sense of safety and control for your children, helping them to feel calm and secure in knowing what's coming next. because when our kids aren't caught off guard by surprises, they're less likely to flip into threat mode and become dysregulated. When they're feeling certain and in control, they're more likely to be able to listen to us. I think we all thrive when things are predictable. When we know what's on the horizon and we can mentally prepare, we do feel calmer. And it is the same for our kids. By making their environment more predictable, we're not only soothing their brains for now, but we're also giving them the building blocks that they will need for developing skills in the future. In our child predictability key, we explore effective strategies that can make life feel even more structured for our children. We talk about what predictable language looks like when we're asking our child to do something. You can use little tips and tricks for making requests or instructions actually go in, such as using phrases like when, then. And we think about how, on the whole, saying less is usually helpful, because too much language can be overwhelming for children. Then we move into predictable visuals, which are tools that are brilliant for breaking down routines, smoothing transitions, and reducing any anxiety, which can sometimes look like tricky behaviour. We cover everything from visual stories that can help children picture upcoming events, to family values posters that can help set the tone at home, and of course, strategies like timers that can be used in multiple ways to help transitions and sharing become less of a battleground. It's worth remembering that we use visuals such as calendars, to-do lists, and maps as adults all the time to help us feel more in control. Yet children often don't have access to the same things. And so this is the balance we're trying to redress. Remember, whether your child is neurotypical or neurodivergent, or whether you're not sure, nothing works for everybody. And that's why we have this full toolkit of different strategies. We understand why we're using them, which means that we can tailor them in a flexible way to our particular child. And we can choose which tool is most useful for which situation on any given day. Again, this key is all about getting alongside our child rather than getting into conflict with them. It's about creating a predictable environment where your child feels secure, and when they feel secure, they're more open to cooperating and learning. I sometimes talk about the predictability key, the playfulness key, and the power key as the 3 key musketeers, because they work so well together and they offer such practical, in-the-moment tips, as well as a general framework for our parenting. I'd love you to join me in the next episode where we will cover how they work as part of the toolkit. Don't forget to check in with the workbook that you can find linked in the show notes, and I'll see you there. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Today we covered crucial perspective and predictability strategies that can help our child's brain stay calmer and more connected to us at tricky moments. If this episode resonated for you, I would love you to join us in the Guilty Parent Club. As a member of the club, you'll gain access to exclusive private podcasts and workbooks providing deeper dives into these topics, taking you step by step through the 6P key framework, and they're packed with practical tools that you can apply straight away. For more details, head over to drjothepsychologist.com/Guilty Parent Club. See you there.